NFL fans, we are live. Week 7. A lot of really good games, man. A lot of really exciting games. We're going to take a look at some of our favorite games this week for week 7, right? We're going to go through all the picks, all the predictions, break down the injury report, who's in, who's out, and some of the bets that we like. I think there's some betting opportunities this week. There's not a ton. Last week, we crushed our bets. 13 bets, 11 cashes, and then we cashed again on Monday Night Football. So we crushed that. Broncos money line. That was an easy pick. That was a layup pick, guys. Absolute layup. So we got to take the layups when they're there. When we see an advantage, like the Broncos over the Saints last night, we got to bet big. It's like blackjack, right? Once the deck starts getting hot and you can feel it, you got to cash in while the iron's hot. And that's what we did last week. We pinpointed for you guys in a bet alert that the Broncos were going to win that game. They dominated, cash for us again. I'm going to go over some of my bets for this week. We're going to go break through all these games, see what's up. I'm really excited about it. Let's first talk about this Patriots-Jaguars game. Remember, this game is in London, but the Jaguars are already in London, right? So that means New England and Drake May are flying across the pond to take on the Jaguars, who are already in London. I do like the Jaguars in this, but right now the line's at 5.5. I don't necessarily love that line right now. And they're coming in at like over minus 200 favorites for a 1-5 team going up against another 1-5 team. I don't necessarily love that. Drake May had a pretty okay game in week 1. He threw a bunch of interceptions, but he did throw 243 yards and 3 touchdowns. Remember, the New England Patriots offensive line is one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL. So for Drake May, playing a pretty good Texans defense to light them up for 3 tutties, that's something for, the Patriots fans to find a little bit of solace in, right? Because it's been bad the last few years, especially the quarterback play. But it's hard for a guy like Drake May, who's not the most accurate of passers, to be very successful when the offensive line sucks. But he did a pretty good job. So what are we watching out in this game, right? The Jaguars defense hasn't been great so far this year, and we got to see how Drake May is kind of coming along. But in his second start, having to go all the way to London to play this game, I'm going with the Jaguars in this spot. I'm not 100% sold on this. I'm not betting it, especially with the line. I don't love the line right now. And we got to watch out for some of the injuries, right? Patriots, D lineman, Kevin White. He's a guy that's in play for some sacks if you're looking for props against Trevor Lawrence. He's got like a very good 20% pass rush win rate. So this offensive line is not very good, right? So maybe we take the over on sacks if you want some bets in this game. But I think the majority of people are taking the Jaguars in this spot. But if the Patriots won this game, I wouldn't be completely surprised. The Jaguars lead the NFL in drops, which is never a good thing, right? Brian Thomas Jr., Gabe Davis, not super talented so far. Well, Brian Thomas Jr., I like him, but he's just pretty much a deep threat, right? So who's moving the chains for them? That's Evan Ingram, right? He's back. He's been getting a ton of targets as of late, right? And the Jaguars are 1-3 outright against the spread right now. So 5.5 points is a lot to give up. If anything, I'm taking New England in the 5.5 points. I like the Jaguars to probably win, but I don't think they cover the spread. So for this Jaguars New England game, I'm going with the Jags only because I think their roster is a little bit better. And it's a lot for New England having to fly all the way to London to play in this game, guys. I don't love it. I don't love it for them at all whatsoever. Now, let's move on to this game that I really, really like. One of my bets for this week. The Atlanta Falcons at home, 4-2, taking on the 3-3 Seahawks, who are reeling right now. Atlanta's only 3.5, the 3-point favorites. All right. So it was 3.5 earlier. It's come down to 3 points, right? I'm just checking off some of my notes. Yeah, Seattle's lost 3 in a row. And their offensive line, minus their left tackle, has been pretty bad. So, where do we go in this game? The Falcons got a pretty good offensive line. They really got Kyle Pitts and Bijan Robinson involved more last week, right? And Tyler Algier had a great game as well. So they got a really nice 1-2 punch at the running back position. The Seahawks are good offensively, but their offensive line, in my opinion, is one of the worst in the NFL. And their defense is just mediocre, right? So I think the Falcons they're one of my bets. I think the line's coming in around minus 150. So listen, the Seattle Seahawks are flying across the country, right? Flying across the country. And then what they're going to have to do is they're changing time zones too. So when a West Coast team goes to the East Coast, they're losing 3 hours. So the 1 o'clock game is actually 10 o'clock in the morning for them. And I never like that, guys. Yeah, Redneck Ghost, I agree with you 100%. The Falcons, I think, win this game and cover the spread, right? I like the Jaguars over the Patriots just because I think it's a lot to ask for a rookie quarterback to go across the pond and win a game like this. But Redneck Ghost is right. I 100% agree. Falcons win this game outright, I think. And I think they can cover the spread too. Yeah, like the Seahawks defense is just like middle of the pack. They're not great. They're not terrible. But for me, Geno Smith playing behind a bad offensive line, having to travel across the country, guys, I really, really like the Atlanta Falcons in this spot. And Coach Mike McDonald, he's not a big blitzer, right? He only likes to rush 4 guys. And if you're dropping back in zone against Kirk Cousins, in my opinion, you're going to get shredded. If you give him time, like how you beat Kirk Cousins, in my opinion, is you got to blitz the crap out of him, get him off his spot because he's not the most mobile guy, especially coming off that Achilles injury. They're going to have to blitz. Mike McDonald kind of likes to be in that like Tampa 2-ish zone defense, only rushing 4 guys, not blitzing a lot. I don't like that at all whatsoever. The Seattle Seahawks have scored 20 or more points in all their games this year, but they're giving up a lot of points too. So I'm leaning towards the Falcons. I got a bet on them this week. I think traveling across the country, changing time zones, and I do like the Falcons defense a lot better than most people do, I think. I think most people are going with the Falcons in this spot, and if you can get it in that minus 150 range, I really, really like the Atlanta Falcons to get a W at home versus Seattle. All right, the next game I want to talk about is the Tennessee Titans on the road taking on the Buffalo Bills. Big trade for the Buffalo Bills, guys. Big trade, right? The Buffalo Bills added Amari Cooper from the Cleveland Browns. So that's really exciting news for the Buffalo Bills who get he's not a true number one, but he's like a number 1 light and Amari Cooper. He's around 30 years of age, so he's a little bit older now, but I still think he can play pretty well. And the Browns obviously get worse, but the Bills get a lot better because now you have Keon Coleman who can learn from a guy like Amari Cooper because there's not that veteran wide receiver that can kind of coach up and teach up Keon Coleman. So not only is Amari Cooper bringing a real threat on the outside opposite of Keon Coleman, he could be that mentor that a young wide receiver in the NFL really needs. And then you have Khalil Shakir in the slot with James Cook and the 2 tight ends that are really good with Buffalo. Buffalo definitely got better, and I really, really like that. I'm really excited. Let's see, Bills. Yeah, it looks like James Cook is going to play in this game, which is really exciting. Yeah, I think the Bills win by at least 10. I agree with Redneck Ghost. The Titans can't do anything well right now. The defense, the secondary is kind of underachieving a little bit with the Awuzie injury. I do like their D-line. The Titans have a very good defensive line, but that's about all they're working with. The offensive line is definitely underperforming, in my opinion. If you look at their offensive line, they got a lot of young guys, not a ton of talent that you're like really excited about, even though Callahan's a really good offensive line coach. it hasn't really played out that well. JC Latham, the rookie's got a 63 PFF grade, and everyone else 63, 53, 63, 39 across the offensive line there. So the Titans have one of the worst offensive lines in the entire NFL. Will Levis has a 44.9 PFF grade, and that's scary terrible. Scary bad. Calvin Ridley and Boyd have not been great either. The only guy who's been really good is Tony Pollard, right? And that's not going to be enough to beat the Buffalo Bills. Like Simmons and Tavondre Sweat, they're a solid D line. But Snead has been underperforming this year, only a 36 PFF grade. And Malik Hooker, the safety, 59 grade. Amani Cooper, sorry, I thought that was Malik Hooker. But the Titans are not going to win this game. They're just not. I'm going with the Buffalo Bills to win this game by double digits. I think they dominate from whistle to whistle the entire game. They're playing at home. I love the Buffalo Bills in this spot. Titans are coming in at 1-4. Bills are at 4-2. The line's already at 9.5, right? So you got to think a double-digit win is coming for Buffalo, but it's a big spread. Is it worth the risk at 9.5 points? I'm not 100% sure, right? But it's a disaster with the Titans. Calvin Ridley's doing interviews and losing his mind. I do love myself some Tony Pollard. He's been really, really good. And the defense has been, they're ranked 8th in points per game, 3rd on 5th down, and 4th in red zone defense. So the defense is doing their part. But the offense, especially the offensive line, has been so bad. Yes, Will Levis has been terrible. His decision-making has not been great. But when everyone on your offensive line is graded in the 50s and 60s, it's just not a good look, man. And Will Levis threw for 95 yards last week. That's just scary bad. I don't know where the Titans go from here. The locker room seems to be not doing too good as well. This is scary, right? But there's some good news in the next game for Browns fans. I know there's not been a lot of good news for Browns fans. Bengals versus the Browns. The Bengals coming in at 2-4. And our Browns coming in at 1-5. Yikes. 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 It says Chubb to return Sunday. So that's great for the Browns fans. Nick Chubb had that horrific injury. We'll see what he's got left in the tank. He's making his season debut, so that's exciting. That's a reason to watch this game. There's not been a ton of reasons to watch Browns football this year, but Nick Chubb could be one of them, right? I'm excited to see what Nick Chubb has left in the tank because he was unbelievable for the last few years, right? Very exciting to watch. But Myles Garrett, man, can you imagine? Can the Birds trade for Myles Garrett? Is that a possibility? The Birds can't draft for crap. So let's give them a first-round pick, a second-round pick, another third-round pick next year. Bring Myles Garrett to Philly because that would be amazing. If the Eagles seriously want to compete for a title, we need that elite pass rusher. Myles Garrett's that dude. But I don't know if the Browns want to give up Myles Garrett. He's the identity of the Browns right now. Not great. So the Browns have the NFL worst defense success rate against the run, coming in at 47%. So if Nick Chubb's got some juice left in the tank, maybe he can make the Bengals pay. But I just think this offense is going to be a little bit too much. T. Higgins, our boy Joe Burrow is going to get it done for sure. I just love this offense. Joe Burrow is so unbelievably talented, right? Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. They're really missing Joe Mixon, though, man. I loved myself some Joe Mixon. He could block, he could run, he could catch. It's a big loss. But I like the Bengals to win this game. I mean, the Bengals defense has been a little bit better to the defensive line. They shut down the Giants last week. They only gave up 7 points. But no Malik Neighbors, no Devin Singletary. You got to take that with a grain of salt. I don't know if the Browns can put up enough points to compete with this Bengals team. The Browns are pretty much scoring under 20 points every single game. And I find it hard to believe that Joe Burrow is only going to put up 14 or 17 in this spot. That's why I'm going with the Bengals to get the W here. Next up, guys, we have one of my favorite games of the week. One of my favorite games of the week. I'm going to check out some of these comments real quick. Oh, man. I'm really excited about this game, guys. I'm so excited about it. Houston Texans, Green Bay Packers. I'm really excited about this game. I'm really excited about this game. Who do you guys think win this Texans Packers game? Who do you think? Who do you think wins? Yeah, I mean, Paul, I don't know if the Eagles would like Max Crosby's been dealing with some injuries, but I'll take Max Crosby. I'll take Myles Garrett, anyone for the Eagles, man. Yeah, Redneck goes, I agree 100% with you. Joe Mixon is a dog. He's a very, very talented player. He's exciting, and he does everything well. Everything you want out of a running back. He can block on third down. He can catch balls out of the flat. He can run the wheel routes. He can run the outside zones. He can run in between the tackles. The Bengals are really missing Joe Mixon. That was a big mistake. Big mistake. All right, guys, we're going to get into this game. I'm really excited about it. I got some little nuggets for you guys here, right? Jordan Love has been playing a lot better lately, right? He looks really good. I think he had like 4 touchdown passes last week. He looks pretty good, right? And the Packers have such a great young stable of wide receivers. The one thing that is concerning me, I originally thought the Texans could win this game, but if you take a look at the depth chart, there is a lot to be concerned about on the defensive side of the ball, right? Look at all, and now these guys have been moved from questionable to out. Kamari Lassiter, he's out. Jimmy Ward is out. It's just crazy, man. Henry 202. I think I butchered that name. The Sam linebacker, he's out. Aziz Al-Shahir, he's out as well. There are a ton of injuries on this Houston Texans defense, and I think it's going to come back to bite them in the butt. So that's why I'm switching my pick and I'm going to the Packers. They look good offensively, Houston, but there's too many injuries on defense for me to have confidence in the Houston Texans to win this game and stop Jordan Love and this young, high-powered offense, guys. I just can't get there. I can't get there. I'm actually going to my sports book right now and getting out of this bet because I don't like it anymore. The Houston Texans, I just don't like it. I'm cashing out. That Houston Texans bet, I am removing it from my sports book. Too many guys are hurt. I just can't trust it. I can't do it, guys. I can't do it. Yeah, I'm going to get into that Lions-Vikings game soon. I'm going to get into it soon, guys. I'm excited about it. Yeah, Redneck goes, I don't disagree with that. But if you look at the Houston Texans defense last week, Drake May, his first ever NFL game, he gave up 3 touchdowns and nearly 300 yards to Drake May. What's Jordan Love and those wide receivers going to do, right? So, and another thing that concerns me, right, if you take a look at the Houston Texans offensive line, they haven't been great this year, guys. They've been underachieving, in my opinion, right? Houston is they're the most penalized team in the NFL. Not good. If you're highly penalized, you're on the road, and you have an offensive line that's underperforming, it's not great. Tunsil, 68.2 grade. Green, 48 grade. Scruggs, 68.3. That's pretty good for the center. Mason, the right guard, 61. And the right tackle, Howard, 66.6. Not great. The offensive line has not been great. And the Packers defense leads the NFL in turnovers, right? A very opportunistic defense, not just intercepting the ball, but they're great at punching those balls out, man, with the running backs, right? Joe Mixon's pretty good at keeping, the ball and not turning it over. He's got a 71 grade and Stroud with the 80 grade, but a very opportunistic defense, a defense on the Texan side that's extremely banged up. Definitely makes me a little bit nervous. I'd rather not bet on this game than to bet on the Texans, right? Yeah, Danico Autry's coming back, right? Yeah, the Packers look really healthy. I mean, When's the last time Joe Mixon had 150 yards? If one of my fellow stat nerds can pull that up for me, I would love to know the last time Joe Mixon rushed for 150 yards in a game. I think it's been a long time, right? So I'm not counting on that, right? It's going to be a really fun game. Yeah, Audrey's probably going to be on a shot clock. They're not going to put him out in that first game, guys, and have him play 50 snaps or something. So if you're thinking about betting on this Texans game, I wanted to show you guys the amount of guys that are out. Pretty much half their starting defense is out for this game. Jordan Love had a really good game last week. I think he had 4 touchdowns or whatever. So, and they look really good. Will Anderson's been a beast though, right? Can he disrupt this game? He's got 5.5 sacks this year. He's a beast, man. He's an absolute beast. But the injuries are just piling up and piling up and piling up for the Texans. If the Texans, with half their defense out, go on the road and beat the Packers, kudos to them. We'll clap it up for them and tip our hats. But I think I like the Packers in this spot. I'm flipping my pick. Earlier on Tuesday when I put out my video, I like the Texans because a lot of those guys were questionable. All the guys that were questionable have been moved to out. So I'm out on this game, but I'm switching my pick. I'm going to Denver. Not Denver, excuse me. I'm going with the Green Bay Packers to win this game in Lambeau. They had a great showing at home last week. They don't have to travel again. There's just too many things going against the Texans in this spot. It's going to be a really close game. It's going to be a very exciting game, guys. Really exciting, super close game. But just like when we're betting, we want to have an advantage, right? And when you're on the road, half your defense is gone, playing against a hot Packers team, there's just too many boxes getting checked off that I don't like as a bettor on the NFL, right? So, yeah, we just can't. And the Packers are just crushing it. They had 3 interceptions. 3 fumble recoveries last week. They're just forcing so many turnovers. Yeah, the Texans were having trouble getting turnovers. I got to flip my pick. I'm flipping my pick. They did play the Cardinals, but the Cardinals offense was playing pretty good. Marvin Harrison went out with a head injury, and James Conner and that run offense of the Cardinals have been playing pretty good the last few weeks. And then the Packers has really shut them down. I was really impressed by how the Packers shut down that run game last week. So, yeah, I'm switching my pick. I was originally going with the Texans, but now, guys, I'm switching to the Packers. All right, next up, we're going to talk about the Miami Dolphins coming off a bye, taking on this Colts team. So what's going on with the Colts? How are the injuries? Is Jonathan Taylor playing or not? We got to go check out the depth chart. Now he's officially been ruled out. Jonathan Taylor is officially out of this game. And all 3 wide receivers for the Colts are questionable. Michael Pittman, Josh Downs, Alex Pierce, all questionable. So I'm going with the Dolphins here. The Dolphins head coach has had plenty of time, Mike McDaniel, 2 weeks to prepare for this game, to get Huntley up to speed, get him cooking. So I like the Dolphins at plus money in this spot. If you go to your sports book and look, Miami, they're underdogs in this spot. Plus 140, coming off a bye. Everyone's looking pretty healthy. I'm going with the Dolphins to beat the Colts. Anthony Richardson looks like he's going to play, but 3 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. Anthony Richardson's only completing 50% of his passes. The Dolphins get 2 weeks to prepare for this game. They're coming off a bye, a little bit more healthy, a little bit more prepared. I like the Dolphins in this spot. The Colts defense is really bad. But if the Miami Dolphins cannot get their offense going in this game versus the Colts defense, then we got to just wash the Miami Dolphins from any of our bets for the rest of the year, right? I just like myself, the Miami Dolphins coming off a bye, right? I don't think the Rams are good. The Rams are dealing with a lot of injuries, and the 49ers defense has been really underachieving this year, right? Yeah, the Patriots got They got Drake May starting, flying across the pond, playing in London. It's tough, man. It's really, really tough to fly all the way to London and then beat a team that's already been there. I don't like that at all. I talked about that a little bit earlier. I'm going with the Jaguars in that spot. And then I'm going with the Miami Dolphins to get an upset on the road versus the Colts. I just think that it's worth the plus 140. Sometimes in betting, it's not necessarily who you might think was winning or who's going to lose, but about the odds. You got to play the odds. And I like the Dolphins at plus 140, right? A lot of people think this Colts team's going to win at home, playing against a Miami team that hasn't been playing well. But remember, they're coming off a bye. And NFL teams that get 2 weeks to prepare for a game play a lot better. And I think this is more of a 50-50 game than the plus 140. So that's why I'm just going with the odds that I like and the Miami Dolphins in this spot, guys. Yeah. All right. Let's go to the next game. What's next? Woo, baby. We got a good one. We got a good one, ladies and gentlemen. Lions, 4-1, traveling to Minnesota to take on the 5-0 Minnesota Vikings. Woo, baby. I'm getting chills just thinking about it. This game's going to be a lot of fun. But unfortunately, I don't have a hat on today, but I'm tipping my cap. Aiden Hutchinson, that injury was horrific. I hope you come back 110%, bro, because we're pulling for you. He's one of the good guys in the NFL. He's a dog. He works super hard. He's a local to the Detroit, Michigan area. That was a gruesome injury, guys. That was hard to watch. Really tough to watch. I love Aiden Hutchinson. The Detroit Lions were my pick to not only go, but to win the Super Bowl this year with Brad Johnson coming back, the offensive coordinator for another year. But I don't know if they can do it without Aiden Hutchinson. The pass rush has been better. Now it's going to be on DJ Reader, Josh Pascal, Houston, and McNeil to get it done. Can they get it done? We're going to really see how this Detroit Lions defensive line responds after losing Hutch, right? The Lions are coming in pretty healthy. The Vikings are coming in off a bye. Let's see, is Hawkinson? I want to check the injury report on Hawkinson and Aaron Jones. See if there's any more updates on them. Yeah, it looks like TJ Hawkinson's still considered out. So he hasn't been activated yet, TJ Hawkinson, right? So Aaron Jones is still questionable. It says 2 hours ago it was updated. He's still questionable. So we got to take that into consideration a little bit. Yeah, you think, Philip, can the Lions make a move? They got some draft picks. Can they go get a Max Crosby? Can they get a Myles Garrett? One of these big-time premier pass rushers to get them over the hump to win the NFC and make a Super Bowl appearance, right? If I'm the GM of the Lions, I'm seeing how I'm playing. Let's see how this, if they get no pressure and they get 0 or 1 sack against Sam Darnold, who's been sackable this year. I think he's averaged like getting sacked 3 times a game this year, Sam Darnold has. So if they cannot get pressure at all on Sam Darnold and they get lit up and they lose by double digits, you got to seriously consider getting rid of one of these draft picks or a couple draft picks and going to get a premier pass rusher. Because that's going to be the difference, in my opinion, of making the Super Bowl and winning it, and then losing the playoff game and being out, guys, So this game's going to be so much fun. And it's huge. I know it's early, but this division is one of the best divisions in the NFL, guys. Extremely competitive, even better than most people thought it was going to be. They knew it was going to be competitive. Vikings 5-0, Lions 4-1, Packers 4-2, Bears 4-2. Every division game is so pivotal to your playoff seeding and winning that division, right? You really want to win the division. And whoever wins this division might get a bye. The NFC is super competitive right now, man. No one's running away with it. NFC West best record 3-3, 4-2, 5-0 for the North, and 4-2 for the East. The NFC East is extremely, extremely competitive, right? It's really, really exciting. Jared Goff has been really good. but he's not the best on the road. But luckily for him, this road game's in a dome. Jared Goff plays considerably better inside than he does outside. But I really want to see Aaron Jones be playing in this game if I'm going to pick the Vikings, right? In 8 games that Justin Jefferson has played against the Minnesota Vikings, almost 1,100 yards. This dude balls out, averaging well over 100 yards per game. He owns the Lions, and the Lions secondary is still not very good. A lot of young, inexperienced guys. There's no one on the Detroit Lions that can cover Justin Jefferson. That's just a fact. Nobody can cover him. They're going to have to roll coverage that way, which can open up things for Addison. So Addison's in play for me in fantasy. Who wins this game? Who wins this game? A lot of people from ESPN are all going with the Lions on the road. This game's going to be really, really close, man. I don't know. Who you guys picking? Vikings or the Lions? Who you guys picking? Let me know in the comments below. Who do you got? Yeah, I think to make a pick, they got to have Aaron Jones playing, right? But if Aaron Jones plays, I'm going with the Vikings at home. No Aaron Jones and no TJ Hawkinson, I'm flipping and going with the Lions. Yeah, the Lions' offensive line is so good. They're so unbelievably talented. Amon-Ra St. Brown is so good. They got amazing running backs in Gibbs and Montgomery. But the pass rush is a major concern of mine, guys. If you haven't yet, do me a huge favor. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Help get this stream out to a bunch of other people, guys. I'd really appreciate you hitting the like button for me. Yeah, the Vikings are due for a loss, but they're coming off a bye, right? They're coming off a bye, and that's huge in the NFL. A well-rested team in the NFL is a dangerous team, guys. And their offense has been really good. Jordan Addison, Justin Jefferson have been lighting it up. It's going to be a high-scoring game. I'm saying 30-27. Who wins? I think I'm going with the Vikings. But no Aaron Jones and no TJ Hawkinson. I'm flipping to the Lions. That's my pick for this game. Yeah, it's going to be a really good game. And yeah, the Vikings defense is extremely underrated. Extremely underrated defense for the Minnesota Vikings. If you look at the team stats, the Vikings defense is very, very talented, right? They're very, very talented. They're a very stingy defense. They're +4 in the turnover ratio. They got 11 interceptions. They lead the NFL in interceptions, the Vikings, man. The Vikings have a very underrated defense. 11 interceptions, 2 fumbles, 13 total turnovers, which ranks second in the NFL, only behind the Packers. So a very opportunistic defense, right? So, yeah, it's going to be a close game, guys. I think I'm leaning towards the Vikings, but I could easily flip Aaron Jones and TJ got to play for me. They got to suit up. Next up, we got a really, really good game. My Philadelphia Eagles, go Birds, taking on the New York Football Giants. 2-4 Giants taking on the 3-2 Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles haven't impressed me, straight up. That defense is not very good, in my opinion. They're not very good, just straight up. I don't care what anyone says. That Eagles defense is cheeks. It's just bad. It's just bad. Dallas Goedert and Jordan Mailata are both out. Sad face. But I do like Fred Johnson, who's going to step in for Jordan Mailata, right? Clearly, he's not Jordan Mailata. He's not. But I think he's a serviceable guy. We'll have to see how that plays out. You know, he hasn't been grading out too good this year, only a 50 PFF grade in limited snaps. So that's a huge concern of mine, especially because the Giants' defensive line, Brian Burns and Dexter Lawrence, are super talented, guys. They're really talented, and that really scares me because Jalen Hurts, when pressure comes, he's not super good, right? So let's go take a look at the Giants' offense. So Andrew Thomas, their star left tackle, he's out as well, right? So two banged up offensive lines are playing each other. Malik Neighbors is back, but it makes me a little bit nervous because Malik Neighbors said in the interview that he doesn't remember anything from that concussion. That concerns me. So is he going to be on a snap count watch? We'll have to see what happens, right? But Brian Burns is questionable. So is Dexter Lawrence, but it looks like they're probably both going to play. If I had to guess, they're probably both going to play. It really concerns me. No Jordan Mailata definitely puts a wrench in this game for me. Yeah, Philip, I agree 100%. The Eagles did not play well last week at all. They didn't play well. They really just didn't play well. I mean, the defense played the worst offense in the NFL, and especially in the second half, Deshaun Watson and that run game were moving the ball. This Eagles defense cannot stop the run at all whatsoever. Luckily, they're playing a banged up offensive line for the Giants. That's the only thing that's saving them, right? So I'm going with the Philadelphia Eagles to win a close game. I'm saying like 23-20, but I don't think they look good. And no Darius Slay means a rookie, Quinyon Mitchell, has got to go up against Malik Neighbors, who's been an absolute dog. Yeah, Malik Neighbors, I love this tape in college. He's one of my favorite players in this draft. My favorite guys on offense were Brock Bowers and Malik Neighbors, my favorite two players. I love them coming out of college. Their tape looked the best to me. And the Giants' run defense has not been good at all this year. They're allowing 5.2 yards per carry. So I think the game plan has to be run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. There's nothing that pisses me off more. The first series of last week, the Philadelphia Eagles hand the ball off. First play of the game, Saquon Barkley rips off 5.5, almost a 6-yard run. And then Kellen Moore dials up a pass, punt. I want to scream. On the first play of the game, if your running back gets a 6-yard run, guess what you do on second down? You run the ball again. Guess what you do on third down? You run the ball again. Make them stop the run consistently. It's not rocket science, guys. The Eagles' offensive coordinators and Nick Sirianni, they try to be too cute. They try to be the smartest dude in the room. Sometimes you got to just punch people in the face. You don't need to be the smartest guy in the room. Run the ball. Run the dang ball. Sandy Bullock said it best. Run the dang ball. The Giants are giving up 5.2 yards per carry. Don't be cute. Run the ball. That's all you got to do. Get Saquon that revenge touchdown. That revenge touchdown prop, Saquon Barkley, that's the prop you got to take this week. It's going to be a heavily bet prop, I think, but the Eagles got to get it done. They got to get it done. Run the ball. Run the freaking ball. Straight up. That's all. That's what you got to do. Straight up. Run the ball, guys. Run the ball. Just run the ball. Straight up. I don't have anything else to say about this Eagles game. Tackle and run the ball. It's really that simple in the NFL sometimes. If you can do the little things well, you can win football games. But if you don't tackle, you're out of position, and you don't control the clock, it's very easy to lose games in the NFL. And the Eagles got to not turn the ball over. I'm going with the Philadelphia Eagles to win a close game in this spot. Next up, very interesting game. Rams at home, 1-4, coming off a bye, taking on the Raiders. The Raiders just traded away Devontae Adams, and they don't have a lot going on their offense, man, just straight up. I feel bad for Brock Bowers because he's super talented. Aiden O'Connell is now the quarterback there. Jacoby Myers is doubtful, so they're going to once again have no one to throw the ball to at all, and they're going to lose. Crosby's questionable. Christian Wilkins is on IR. Is Cooper Kupp going to play? That's the big question in this game, right? Is Sean McVay going to release Cooper Kupp? Let's check the depth chart, see if he's been ruled out or in this game. He's still questionable, but there are hopes from all the insiders from the Rams that are saying they hope he plays. It's going to be a game time decision. We're probably not going to get a good tip on this until an hour before the game, right? So I like the Rams in this spot coming off a bye at home. In these close games with rosters that are banged up or they're even, I like to go with what quarterback do I like more? Guys, what quarterback do you like more? Matt Stafford, Aiden O'Connell. It's a no-brainer, right? I'll take Matt Stafford all day of the week to win a game. Sean McVay has had 2 weeks to prepare for this game. I'm going with the Rams. I'm not laying that juice down. The line I saw on Bovada was like minus 300. I'm not doing that. Minus 320 for a 1-4 team. And remember, the Raiders beat the Ravens. So you want me to lay minus 320 on the Rams? I don't know. It's probably like more of like a minus 200 line, in my opinion. The Raiders in 7 points, I don't hate that. Do you think this Rams team is capable of blowing them out? I don't see that. The Raiders haven't done anything well. They're 31st in the NFL in rushing yards per game, coming in at under 80 per game. And then the Rams defense gives up the most rushing yards, over 157. Something's got to give here, right? So if the Raiders can establish the run, I think this could be a close game. I like the Rams to probably win this game, and running the numbers in my head, like if you look at the implied probability of this game, if the Raiders gets the like plus 300 and you get 3 extra money, implied probability wise, it's worth a little bet on them just because of the pure probability to win factor. So I like the Rams to win this spot, but putting a small bet on the Raiders makes a little bit of sense to me. It makes a little bit of sense, guys. Yeah, Philip, I don't see Puka Nacua coming back for a little while. There's been no inclination at all that he's even close to being ready. So that's not good for the Rams and this season. It might be a lost season for the Rams, especially and Cooper Kupp, he's getting older. He can't stay healthy either. It's not good. If I'm the Rams, I got to draft another wide receiver next year. And they got to think about drafting a quarterback. Matt Stafford, or maybe trading for a guy like Bryce Young. If I'm the Rams, bringing in Bryce Young to serve under Matt Stafford, I think could be a really smart idea. These teams with aging quarterbacks, bringing in a guy like Bryce Young makes a lot of sense. But for me, the Panthers just not like letting Andy Dalton play. Like, you got to just ride it out with Bryce Young. Try to get any value. And if you don't want him, try to build up his value. Maybe he plays a couple good games and then you could ship him out of town. But just letting Andy Dalton play from a organizational perspective makes no sense to me. You know what I mean? So I'm going to go with the Rams in this spot, but implied probability-wise, if you can get this Raiders game at plus 300, it's worth it. If you type in your implied probability calculator, minus 300, do you think the Rams win this game 90% of the time? I don't think so. So the math is telling me to just bet the Raiders just for the math. Just a small bet, obviously. But I'm going to go with the Rams, I guess. Just because the Raiders are just so dysfunctional right now. All right, next up, we have another lopsided game. Carolina Panthers on the road taking on the Commanders. There's not a lot to say about this game. The amount of people on IR and out on the Panthers defense is crazy. They pretty much lost a whole defense. Got to IR. It's unbelievable. Not only did the Carolina Panthers not have a good roster going into this season, right? And then all their best players got hurt. Just Shaq Thompson, Derek Brown. Look, I'm just going to rattle off all these guys that are out, doubtful, or are on IR for the Panthers. Josie Jewell out. Jadeveon Clowney, doubtful. Ashawn Robinson out. Popo Umuhue, I don't know, I butchered that name, but IR. He's out. Chalerius, out. Raekwon Williams, IR. Derek Brown, IR. Shaq Thompson, IR. John Rodigan, out. Dane Jackson, out. Sam Franklin, IR. Jordan Fuller, IR. Amari Barno, out. DJ Wanham, out. Oh my gosh. This team not only has a terrible roster, but unbelievably horrible luck. I think the Commanders put up 30 and cover the spread. Washington at home versus the Panthers. It's crazy. It's just unbelievable. Like the amount of injuries. If you heard me rattle them all off, it seems like out of a movie. Like it's like David versus Goliath in this game. I like the Commanders to win this game and cover. It's like I think I got in the bet at 8 points. So I'm going to pat myself on the back for that. Getting the Commanders in 8 points at even money. That's a great bet. I don't know what it is now. It looks like on ESPN it's up to 9.5. It's up to 9 on Bovada, 9.5 on ESPN. I got it at 8. So I feel good about myself in that bet, right? I feel good about myself. Guys, if you haven't yet, do me a huge favor. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It really, really helps get this live stream out to more viewers. I appreciate all you guys hanging out, sticking around. I really love when you guys use the comment section so we can talk about football, all the bets we like, the teams we like. It really helps this channel out when you guys participate in these live streams. But Panthers coming in at 1-5, Commanders at 4-2, 51.5 over under. Seems pretty high to me. Because if the Commanders go out to a 14-21-0 lead, they're probably going to lean on the run game, right? You would think. But the Commanders are dealing with some injuries on the D line. Jonathan Allen's out. Armstrong's hurt. Jean Baptiste is dealing with an ankle injury. He just got placed on IR. So a lot of injuries, right? The Commanders should dominate. And pretty much everyone thinks they're going to put up a 40 burger, right? So if you think the Panthers can score at all against this bad Commanders defense, the over might be the pick for you. I'm going with the Commanders to win this game. Next up, we got another really fun game. Kansas City Chiefs 5-0 somehow on the road versus the 49ers, who have been underachieving to say the least. Underachieving to say the least, right? I like the Chiefs in this spot. Andy Reid coming off a bye against a mediocre defense. I don't love that if I'm the 49ers. If I'm thinking about putting a bet on the Niners. I mean, the defense has been bad. Warner and Bosa both 90 grades. Lenore 63, Ward 53, the outside corners. Brown and Mustafa 61 and 59, respectively. Floyd and Collins, the other guys on the D-line, 57, 59. The linebackers have been horrible. Campbell and Flanagan Falls, 48, 38 grade. Yeah, the 49ers have been booty cheeks. Straight cheeks. Straight cheeks. What's up, Alex? How's it going, man? But straight cheeks. They've been bad. And what does Andy Reid do? He carves up bad defenses. So these guys are out of position, not being able to tackle. You think they're going to stop the Chiefs? I don't see it happening. I like the Chiefs to go to 6-0 and the 49ers to keep reeling to 3-4. And the Chiefs defense has been pretty good. Andy Reid has had 2 weeks to prepare for this game. I don't love it. I don't love it, guys. I do not love it. I don't love it. I like the Chiefs in this spot. And if we look at the Chiefs, you know, the 49ers offensive lines look pretty good this year. I'm not going to lie. The offense is not the problem. It's the defense. It's been the defense for the 49ers that have been not good all year long. And a defense that's beatable. You think they're going to shut down Patrick Mahomes? I just don't see it happening. I hate to say it, but I don't see it happening. The Kansas City Chiefs offensive line has been okay. The interior offensive line has been great. The tackles have been an issue for Patrick Mahomes. Morris, 57 grade. Taylor, 57 grade. The tackles have been terrible. Straight up. Kingsley Sumaya or whatever his name is, the rookie, he got benched. But Patrick Mahomes always figures out a way to carve up bad defenses, right, guys? What are your guys' thoughts on this game? Who do you think wins? You going with the Chiefs or with the 49ers? Let me know in the comments below. But if you can get the Chiefs from a betting perspective at even money coming off a bye, give me that bet any day of the week for the rest of my life. I don't think that's 50-50 at all. I'll take Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes coming off a bye at even money against any team in the NFL 24/7. Yeah, Alex, I agree. Nancy Amaral, welcome to the chat. Love seeing you stopping by, hanging out with us here. Yeah, Philip, I agree. Kansas City by 6. I think that's where the line should be. I think the line should be more like Chiefs 3.5. But most sports books have this game at even. I like the Chiefs at even money. Give me the Chiefs at even money all day long. I'm putting a bet in on the Chiefs right now. Give me the Chiefs at even money. I'm taking a money line bet on the Chiefs coming off a bye. And if they lose coming off a bye, you got to tip your hat to the 49ers beating Patrick Mahomes with a mediocre defense coming off a bye. You tip your hat sometimes. Sometimes the pitcher makes a good pitch and you got to go walk to the dugout. That's just the way betting and baseball works. You know what I mean? Sometimes in sports, the other guys get paid too. You got to tip your cap. I get that the Niners are at home, but Patrick Mahomes is coming off a bye. Yeah, Revolution. For me, I got to see if Aaron Jones and Hawkinson play. I think the Vikings-Lions game is 50-50. I like the Vikings defense. That's been really, really good. Second in the NFL in turnovers. I think they could shut down the Lions at home. That's why I'm going with the Vikings. So I get what you're saying, but it's a 50-50 game. Yeah, the Chiefs consistently beat the 49ers. I love the Chiefs at even money for a bet for us this week. I love that bet. I love it. I love it. All right. Saba, let's see. What is my biggest? I like the Dolphins. That's my big upset of the week, you know? I'm scrolling. Sorry, I got a huge knot on my back. It's killing me right now, guys. It's killing me. If I'm looking at all the dogs this week, the Dolphins are my dog. I mean, the Texans are so banged up. I'm going through. I think the Buccaneers are live dogs at home too. Yeah, the Buccaneers. I don't know if I'm willing to bet on the Buccaneers, but plus 3.5. That's not a bad bet. The AFC North is stacked, man. The NFC North is stacked. Yeah, I talked about Seattle, Atlanta, Alex. I like Seattle. I mean, not Seattle. I like Atlanta in that spot. So Seattle has been reeling, right? Offensive line play not good. And listen, they're traveling across the country, right? They're changing time zones. So the 1 o'clock game is 10 in the morning for Seattle. I don't like that. Kirk Cousins at home. I'm going with Kirk Cousins. I'm riding with Kirk Cousins. I like that spot for Kirk Cousins. Let's see. ESPN. Oh, it's mixed bag. They think the 49ers are going to put up 30 points against this Chiefs defense. I don't see it. With 2 weeks to prepare, I don't know. I don't love that. I like the Chiefs in that spot. All right, then we got the Jets at the Steelers. Sunday Night Football. Woo-wee! This is exciting. Davante Adams making his debut. He's going to play in this game, guys. I'm excited. Are you excited? Get excited. I'm excited. Yeah, I don't like the Steelers in this spot. It looks like Russell Wilson's going to start his first game against that Jets defense that's pretty dang good. I like the Jets too. DU, I like the Jets too. I think Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers got something to prove. And listen, they lost that game last week to the Bills, but if their dog poo kicker makes one of those kicks, they win that game. He missed a 32-yard field goal and then a 47-yard field goal. The dude's got to make those kicks. You got to make those kicks. And they scored a touchdown that got called back on a bullshit call against Tyron Smith. So the Jets won that game in my eyes. It doesn't go down that officially in the record, obviously. But if you watch that game, you know who won that game. The refs really, really let it cook for the Bills. But thank you guys so much for tuning into this live stream. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for me, guys. I really appreciate you guys. Yeah, I mean, and the Steelers' defense hasn't been great. TJ Watt saved their asses last week by punching out those fumbles. One was on the goal line, and you can't rely on that each and every week, right? So I think Garrett Wilson might get more balls. So what was happening? Everyone was rotating to double coverage on Garrett Wilson when they only had Lazard, right? So they can't rotate. Are they going to rotate double coverage to Garrett Wilson and leave Devontae Adams one-on-one? No. You know they're not doing that. No defense is going to do that. That's dumb. That would be super dumb, right? Yeah, TJ Watt, but they depend too much on TJ Watt. And you know how you beat TJ Watt? You run the ball down their throat. You take TJ Watt out of the game by having a good rushing attack. That's what I do. I run the ball in between the tackles. Try to take TJ Watt out of this game. But I'm going with the Jets. All right. Now we got 2 Monday night games. Ravens Buccaneers, guys. Ravens Buccaneers. This game's going to be a lot of fun. I don't know. I don't know who wins this game. I guess my lean is towards the Ravens to get a win here. Baker Mayfield, they blew out the Saints last week, but he threw 3 interceptions. So if you turn the ball over against the Ravens, you're going to lose. I like Baltimore to win this game. Mayfield, Chris Godwin's really stepped up this year. This is going to be a really good game because you got to remember, this Ravens defense isn't the defense of years past. They're very beatable. Very beatable, guys. Very beatable. So I'm going to go with the Ravens, but I'm not 100% loving it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not 100% loving it. All right. And then the last game of the week. We got kind of one good game, another dud. Chargers, Cardinals. I'm going with the Chargers. The Cardinals are kind of reeling right now. I like the Chargers at -130. I think that's a great bet too. But I like Justin Herbert more than I like Kyler Murray. I don't love the Chargers' weapons, but Marvin Harrison Jr. is probably not going to play this week because he's in concussion protocol. So that's one less weapon on the outside. Now they got just Trey McBride and a couple okay receivers. The Chargers are good against the run, right? So I'm going with the Chargers, guys. That's it. Wrapping it up. Chargers. Doing my 1 hour live stream. I'm going to try to do these every single Friday around 1 o'clock. I'm going to probably do 1:15 because I got some stock market stuff I got to do around 1 o'clock on Fridays. Yeah, Alex, I agree 100%. I love Harbaugh. So I'm going to do a live picks and bets video every single Friday for you guys. I appreciate all you guys tuning in to my live streams, subscribing to the channel, hitting the like button. It all means a lot to me. Check out all my long form videos too. That really helps out my channel. And if you're interested in sports betting, my memberships are $4.99 a month. You get all my bets. I make a video. I go through my entire sports book. I lay out every single pick I make each and every week. Only $4.99 a month. Last week, we tripled our bankroll. Tripled it. I made 13 bets, 11 of them cash, and we crushed it. We simply crushed it. The 2 bets we lost was a teaser that I only did a $2 bet on, and we lost. We did a small bet on the Commanders at plus money. Sometimes as a bettor, betting on plus money can really help you build your bankroll if you do the work, right? So for $4.99 a month, if you did my picks last week, it's like 2 years of the membership is already paid for, right? Just by following my bets from last week, we crushed it. I'm really excited about this week. I think we got some good bets in. I think our picks are going to be solid again this week, and we'll see. Last week was a little less crazy. You know what I mean? My picks were pretty much right on the money, but I appreciate you guys tuning in to these live streams. It really helps grow this channel. Thank you so much. We'll see you guys next week for another J All Day live picks episode. All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good weekend. Have some fun. Win some money. Let's go. We're going to ball out. We're going to win some cash this weekend. I appreciate you guys so much. We're almost at 10,000. We just crossed 9,500. Next, 10,000 subscribers. I appreciate you all so much. Peace out.